Alrighty boys, what is going on? My name is Garen Belmont. How y'all doing today? So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a Keelan build. Now, when Ice Maiden came out and I saw everybody doing, Serena this, Serena that, Serena Ice Maiden 10 seconds, I couldn't help but feel a little bored because, we've had Serena for a couple months now, so we kind of already know how powerful she is, and I just think it's kind of boring to kind of just make another Serena video. And by the way, I am not shitting on any content creators who decide that they want to make Serena videos. Me personally, I would rather kind of invest and try something new and do something different rather than just kind of following the flock and uploading another Serena video. And just between you and I don't really like playing Serena. I gotta be honest with you. I don't really like flying around, and this also translates to games like Warframe as well, because I play a lot of Hildred in Warframe, and it's rare for me to use her like fourth ability and just kind of like hover around, even though her ability is actually really good. But regardless, so I decided to build Keelan because I wanted to see, where Keelan was at, and if he was fun to play or not. And so let's go over the build, shall we? I'm going to go backwards here. You'll see why here in a second. So first of all, let's go over the reactor. So I'm going with a Toxic Singularity reactor. I have skill effect range and skill cooldown. So the main focus of this build is to use Keelan's second ability, which is Onslaught. Onslaught is kind of like a dash. I don't know if any of you have ever played the old Mega Man Zero or Mega Man X games, but it reminds me of that super heavily. Like, just the effect of it, the way it looks, it's really cool, and I think that's why I kind of ended up really enjoying this build. And so yeah, so we're running skill effect range, skill cooldown. You do want this to be a singular reactor because you do get the toxic skill power boost ratio as well as the singular skill power boost ratio. So you do get a little bit of extra damage off of your singular abilities when it comes to using the singularity reactor. So just kind of keep that in mind. Typically, if you're running like gun-based builds, you don't have to worry about this because you're not focusing on skill damage. You're focusing on your actual weapon damage, and weapon damage is not affected by your reactor. So just kind of keep that in mind. So next up is going to be, oh, sorry, by the way, if you do not get, for any of you new players out there, people who are just watching this video who might still be kind of getting into the swing of things, we actually got a system where now we can upgrade the substats or upgrade the stats of our reactors. So originally I think I had like purple skill cooldown and it was like blue skill effect range, but I was actually able to upgrade to gold. So you do not have to get full gold. You can get close to gold or get the first one that you're able to get, and then you can simply upgrade it. It's going to take some a lot of materials, but you can eventually upgrade it so if you want to. And then also I have a fully upgraded all 5 levels of my singular reactor as well. So next up, let's go over this external component set. So we're running the Plague set. This is one of the newer sets to be added into the game. If you, again, are not familiar with the first Descendant, typically we have these ultimate external component sets, and these typically are more keen towards specific Descendants. Like, they'll have effects that are more akin to specific Descendants. So in the case of the Plague auxiliary power, or sorry, the Plague set, we have singular skill power, which is what we want. We do get a reduction in our firearm critical hit rate and our firearm critical hit damage, but we do get an increase of plus 43.2% toxic skill power. And when you're acquiring a custom resource, you do get some more skill power, and it has a 10-second duration, but you can actually reset it, and you'll see that during the gameplay when I actually showcase the build. So the Plague set is pretty much specifically tuned for Keelan because he does have his own custom resource. He doesn't use MP. So because of that, this set is pretty much catered specifically towards Keelan. You can use this with Serena as well, but you aren't going to be taking advantage of the plus 21.6% toxic skill power because she doesn't have a custom resource compared to Keelan, at least if I remember correctly. I don't think she does. It's been a while since I played Serena. Anyway, so because Keelan doesn't have MP, we don't have to worry about things like max MP or MP recovery in and out of combat. So I just typically go for the survivability stats, max HP. You can go with resistances if you want, whatever you want to go with here. As long as you go with like max HP, we don't have to worry, like I said before, we don't have to worry about max MP. I have defense, and then I have toxic resistance and max shield. I would personally go for resistances. Resistances are in a shoddy place right now. They're not really all that important. So, it's kind of like it's there. You know what I mean? It's there. That's the best way I could talk about it. So, because now, in terms of weapons, I couldn't really find a weapon that I thought synergized really well with Singularity. There probably is one, and if you guys have any suggestions for all 5 of you Keelan mains out there, if you guys have a weapon that you suggest, please let me know in the comment section. I couldn't think of one that would really that would really help Keelan, so I kind of just used this to build Fallen Hope. Now, my Fallen Hope isn't built, as you can see. I don't even have any cores in it. I did put one of the cores, the core to get the stats, but other than that, I really haven't built this thing. I think I upgraded it once, but that's not kind of like the point of this build. I do recommend you go with a weapon that doesn't scale with crit, because we're running the Plague set, we're getting a massive reduction in our crit rate and crit damage. So running, say, something like Malevolent with a Malevolent multi-hit build, I know that Fallen Hope has actually been kind of getting a little bit of attraction because of the introduction of multi-hit. So Fallen Hope, just really any weapon that can do well with like multi-hit would probably be your best shot there. But yeah, let's look at the modules. So this is what I have here. So we're running pretty typical, focus on singular and focus on toxic. Those are pretty standard when it comes to skill-based builds. We get the skill power modifier, as well as we get the extra skill cooldown. We have amplification control. This gives us increased skill effect range, as well as some max shield. We have toxic amplification because this isn't a crit build, like say something you would run on Sharon, or if you guys watch my classic chef Ultimate Blair video, we're not running crit. This is going to be straight skill power, so we can afford to run toxic amplification. So yeah, we can run that. Stim accelerant. Because Keelan is not getting because Keelan doesn't have MP, we are getting the maximum benefit of having stim accelerant, which I believe it's like, what, 10% more than the blue version of increased HP. Actually, it's like way more than that. What is that? 16%? Math? Yeah, around 16%. We're getting about 16%-ish more off of stim accelerant. MP conversion, once again, no MP, so we get the maximum benefit. Skill expansion to increase skill effect range. Nimble fingers for more cooldown. Spear and shield. This will give us some defense as well as some extra skill power. Now, this last mod I went with singular amplification. Once again, because we're not running crit, we can afford not losing that minus 140% skill critical hit rate. But another mod I was kind of tinkering around with was, where is it? Preemptive Strike here. When landing a skill attack on enemies with max HP, deal 17% of the skill damage dealt as additional damage to the target. Now, of course, this would be better in a solo scenario where you don't have teammates kind of also doing damage. So being in a solo scenario where you get an extra 17% damage kind of right off the rip when enemies are full health. So when you're fighting, say, an elite enemy, you would get like close to killing them to where Keelan's Keelan's status effect, I think it's Acidic Decay, would kind of finish the job. But ultimately, I went with singular skill modifier. Let me know what you guys are running in terms of modules. This is the build that I came up with, and it's the build that I've been running the most. But I want to quickly talk about his Transcendent mods. So, first Transcendent mod is Mobile Strike. Honestly, I tried both of these. They were not very good. Focus on Prey is more of like a single target because it turns his first ability into like a single target, but you shoot multiple projectiles at said target kind of ability. And then you have, say, Mobile Strike, where you no longer get the benefit of resetting your cooldown of Onslaught when you attack multiple enemies, but you do have a chance to have those enemies explode. I don't know. This Mobile Strike I felt like was close to being good, but it feels like the developers kind of like put some restrictions on it, and this is kind of like my big issue with balancing in the first Descendant, where we have Descendants like Inez and we have Descendants like Serena, where the developers, it feels like they kind of just went all out and didn't give these Descendants any kind of drawbacks in terms of their specialization of Serena being bossing, Inez being mobbing. It feels like it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of like why we had to get rid of Keelan resetting his the cooldown of Onslaught when he attacks multiple targets. But that's just my overall opinion. I would personally not run at either of those. It's a waste of Kuiper until we see some buffs. I would personally not run that. In terms of inversion reinforcement, I'm running what is it? RK circulation tactic for more cooldown reduction. I'm running selective neurostimulation for a little bit of survivability. Actually, sorry. Which one was I running before? I think it was actually this one. Whoops. Sorry. Selective cellular stimulation. I must have accidentally quit that one. And then I was also running adrenaline rush. If you can change this for evolutionary cutting mechanism if you are running, say, a multi-hit malevolent build, but that's completely up to you. This is a skill-based build, so most of the time I didn't really have to shoot, but sometimes you might have to shoot. Alright, so let's showcase the build here. So this build is completely based off of Onslaught, which is once again his second ability. That's your C ability. This is affected by skill effect range. That's why I went with skill effect range. Originally, I thought it was going to affect the distance, but no. There's actually kind of like a little. There's actually like a little AOE that happens when you're using Onslaught. I didn't realize this, but yeah. So let's kind of just show off the build here. Alrighty, so as you can see, this is a very fast-paced build. And then also, when it comes to... Oh, I'm sorry. I'll show you guys arcade tuning here in a second after I'm done explaining. When it comes to using this build, so basically, what ends up happening is... When we're using Onslaught, depending on how many enemies we kill, I think it's like... let me see here. Max reduction count 3 times. Does it show... I'm trying to see. Okay, stack cooldown reduction per pierce 5 seconds. So you can only get... So you need to hit at least 3 enemies, and you get 5 seconds for each for a total of 15 seconds. So keep that in mind, because if we were to say use Onslaught without hitting an enemy, The cooldown of it, even with all the cooldown reduction mods that we have, is still relatively slow. And so this is why it's important, and this is a big reason why we didn't go with Mobile Strike, because it actually gets rid of the ability for you to get cooldown reduction for each stack when you pierce targets. So keep that in mind. But the nice part about Onslaught is you can use this in multitude of different ways. Keelan is probably the most mobile Descendant in the game, even more so than Bunny, even more so than Serena, and that's because he can do this.
This is your ring.
You can see how crazy that is when you guys see the gameplay footage, and I will kind of just quickly put a disclaimer here. The footage that you guys will see is it doesn't have any sound, but it demonstrates how crazy Keelan can be when you are actually playing him. Keelan is not a meta Descendant in any stretch of the imagination. He very much gets outclassed by a lot of other Descendants, especially Inez. But I think what Keelan does really well is he is just a very fun Descendant. He's very underappreciated in my opinion. And I mean, come on. Like, you can't say that's not fun. Now, when you are running out of stacks, like you'll see here, I have 3 stacks. You can actually press your 4th ability and you can get stacks back. Now, if you are next to targets here, let me just do this. When you are next to targets, the 4th ability will glow, and it will actually explode enemies. So you want to make sure if you are trying to get your stacks back, you do want to kind of be away from enemies and make sure that the 4th ability is not glowing. But yeah, let me show arcade tuning. Sorry. So for arcade tuning, this is what I've been running, and this is what I've kind of seen the most success for. We're running skill power, of course, because this is a skill power build. We're going to heavily take a lot of skill power. We also are running some increased HP over here, and that's because I didn't really know where else to kind of put the rest of the points after skill power, so I just put them into HP. And we also got a little bit of fire resistance. Oh, fire resistance. Now, we do have to take some increased HP, which is not ideal, but because it's kind of in the way of us getting to the mutation cell, and also us getting some more increased skill power. I did experiment with the mutation cell, and the one that I ended up running was Toxic Cohesion. So with Toxic Cohesion, it has a trigger rate of 50%. Honestly, you're gonna have this up all the time. Like, 50% is pretty high, and for as many enemies as you're gonna be killing, you're gonna have this up at all times. And it has a max stack 3 seconds, 10-second duration, but like I said, as long as you're killing enemies, you are going to be resetting you're going to be resetting the timer on that. And then you get an extra toxic skill power of 6.4% up to 3 stacks, which is what, 19.2 if my math is correct. Yeah, it should be 19.2%. So you're getting an extra 19.2 off the toxic skill power if we are running Toxic Cohesion. If you want to, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Honestly, if you want to take some out of skill power and you want to run a double mutant cell build, you could probably run that. Let's see here. If we go to library, mutant cell, okay, I have for some reason. Okay, so not really any good ones. I wouldn't recommend it. I didn't think about it, but I wouldn't run it. But yeah, this video has already gone on long enough, guys. But yeah, overall, Keelan is a lot of fun to play. He's a very fun Descendant, and I highly recommend him if you are someone who's kind of tired of the Serena meta or Inez meta and you just want to try something different. I highly recommend Keelan. He's a lot of fun. He's very fast-paced. And you could just see how fast-paced he is But anyway, guys, I'm going to show you guys some gameplay footage of me running him in 400% dungeons. Let me know how I did with the build in the comment section. Let me know what you would have did differently. I don't usually say this, but I am human. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I overlook some things. There's a lot of different combinations of mods and, you know, everything that goes into a build. There's just overall a lot of stuff that goes into these, so sometimes I overlook things. So let me know in the comment section what you would have done differently. But with that being said, guys, my name is Garen Belmont, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.